Okay, there's something I don't understand with this tier maker website. Why does it require me to sign in through Twitter? I don't understand that. Like, I don't use Twitter. I don't care about Twitter. And were it not for these tier lists, I wouldn't bother making a Twitter. But I have to be able to do that in order to make and do tier lists. So, I don't know. It's a pretty stupid thing. Also, another thing that annoys me with this site is it is so unbelievably infested with ads that continuously refresh themselves. And I'm pretty sure ads stress on my computer because how often it does it. It's dumb. But whatever. Anyways, welcome everyone to the Stick World Legacy Skins tier list video. This is going to be a long one, and this was massively overdue on my end, but I just kept putting it off and procrastinating. While we're putting it into the procrastination, we are going to tier list every single one of these skins on each individual unit to get the most accurate rating possible. So the way this is going to work is we're going to start from left to right when it comes to units and skins, which means we begin with the minor, work our way to the giant, and we also begin with the classic skin and work our way to the vamp skin. I have all of that in order as you see here. So we're going to kick this off. Starting with the classic minor. I don't even have to show you any video clips of it because in all honesty, it's just a classic skin. You're not going to get anything special from it. Your minors get a gold appearance to it, but really isn't all that impressive. And there really isn't anything special about them. It's a classic minor look. That's as easy as you're going to get, so it's going to go into that tier. Next up, we're going to do the leaf minor, which I am going to put in an S tier. And there really isn't a whole lot to say about these guys either. They're cheaper miners that train faster. Why wouldn't you like that? You can't really get any more simplistic than that, so that is where we are at. Classic miner in the classics tier, leaf miner in S tier. Now when it comes to the ice miner, the only thing I will say that's good about it is you get to get a unit that can almost freeze lock a target because of how quickly the miner attacks. Other than that, you're not really benefiting by having ice on your miners, except when you need to use a miner to go for some early game defense. But if you're relying on an ice miner to clear out a wave of enemies, you're just going to lose all your miners because they're not meant for attacking power. But if you need something that can do a quick freeze to a target until stronger units show up, well, the ice miner is good for that. But other than that, I really wouldn't say it's that special. With that being said, I think the ice miner is good at a B tier. Like I said, it is not spectacular, and it is definitely not something I would recommend for defending against a ton of enemies. It's really just if a Spearton or a Sword Wrath attacks you early and you don't have your unit out yet, your army unit out, using controlling an ice miner and freeze locking it is a good way to handle that. But other than that, I wouldn't say it's all that special. Alright, up next is the Savage Miner, and I would probably say it's slightly worse than Ice because even the bonus damage you can do to Dez, as you can see here, is not that strong. In fact, I don't think Savage Miner even has that perk. I had to go back and read the description on it, but I don't think using controlling a Savage Miner increases your damage to Dez. So it's really only good for the stun reduction, which can help you if, say, your miners get blasted by a Magi kill because you were too late to garrison them. Then that can save your miners, but I mean, other than that, I don't think Savage Miner is a good choice either. You're much better off having a much more beneficial skin like Leaf. So I'm doing it. This is probably going to upset some of you because you may think Savage Miner has much more benefits than what I described. But I personally think this is worthy of a C tier. Like, Savage is definitely not going to be my go-to choice if I want an effective skin on my miner. The only reason I would really equip Savage is if I want my miners to look like the Chaos Miners and Stick Empires, because the default skin kind of looks like these. But other than that, I'm not going to use Savage like that. Now we're on to Lava Miner, which I will say is a decent improvement over Savage. And I would definitely pick it for the burn damage benefit. The damage reflect, not so much, since miners have very low survivability, so you're not going to get that much of the benefit from the damage reflect. But the burn damage, I would say, makes it a lot better, because miners have very low attack damage. However, what you can do with the lava miner is run around with it and just snipe burn damage on things. I can hit a target once, and that's going to be a lot of chip burn damage as long as the unit doesn't shield some of it off. So that right there, I say, gives lava miner a bit more of a redeemable quality. More so for the burn damage. Again, I can snipe it on weak units that are attacking early, but in terms of the benefiting from the damage reflect, not so much, because again, the low survivability that miners have. Alright, I'm going to give lava miner some more respect, because I do think that its quality surpassed ice. I'm going to give it an A tier. I think it is very well worthy of that. Worthy of that. Like I said before, not so much for the damage reflect, although it is better than nothing, but that burn damage makes it so strong. Next up, we have the undead miner, and you can honestly just forget about trying to benefit from killing a unit with the user controlled miner. That is just not going to happen. But however, the undead miner is good for something, and that is stalling. For example, if you happen to fall under a massive attack and you have to garrison, and your army's still building up in power, well, sometimes you have to throw your miners out there as distraction so the enemy is not targeting your statue. Well, having the undead miner skin makes it even better, because the miners die and they turn into deads, which further stalls against the enemy, allowing you to build up your army power and do your best to fend off their attack. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, because the deads that respawn with the undead skin are extremely weak. They're terrible. However, if you need that extra stalling power, undead miner is perfect for that. With that being said, I'm going to take undead miner and I'm going to put it in the B tier. As good as that stalling power is with the undead miner, I don't think it's worthy of an A, because that's really all you're going to be using the undead miner for. Unless you're participating in some challenge where you try to get user control kills with an undead miner to respawn a dead, but that's just really ineffective and unrealistic. So it's really just good for the stalling power, which is why it's getting a B. Alright, I think we can all agree that out of all the miner skins, Voltaic is by far the best one. Because when it comes to defending against units early game, Voltaic gives miners damage a massive boost. So it is very effective at killing units like Sword Wrath that are rushing your miners, and in some cases even Speartons if given enough time. But the best thing about the Voltaic miner skin is seeing this absolute powerhouse of Legacy Lavish just tear things apart with the Voltaic power, providing he is skin affected. It is just too freaking good. Lavish is already a massive lethal powerhouse with his 60 damage, which is just so good for an elite miner. But when you pair Voltaic with Lavish, he murders everything. He one-shots swords, he one-shots enemy miners, I think. I know now that they have double the HP, but still, with his fast attack speed, Lavish annihilates everything when paired with Voltaic. It is incredible. So yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, I am very confident taking Voltaic miner and just giving it an S tier. It is really good. Now, getting the miners to charge up might not be that good, because they're not really going to attack unless there's no gold mines for them to get. But still, you get 60 extra damage in every attack from a Voltaic miner. There's nothing that beats that. It out damages lava in every aspect. And finally, we have Vamp Miner, which I don't have a whole lot to say about this. It's good if you're facing against toxic deaths, because it gives you poison immunity, so it's helpful in endless deaths, sure. But other than that, I don't think it's that special. If you try to get regeneration from attacking units with Vamp Miner, you're going to be very disappointed because their damage is way too low and the splash damage might as well be non-existent. It's like 2 damage or something. Absolutely not worth trying to get those benefits from the Vamp Miner. Your best bet is the poison immunity if you happen to be facing toxic deads in endless deads. Other than that, there really isn't much to the Vamp Miner. I don't think it's that special. Alright, so closing out the minor skin rankings, I am going to give Vamp Miner a C tier. I don't think it's worthy of a D because it's not terrible, it just isn't all that good. If they introduce more perks for Vamp Miner like self-regeneration when they're mining or something, then that would make it a lot more worth. But other than, again, the poison immunity and the extra HP buff, nothing to it. So yeah, that's gonna do it for the Vamp Miner rankings. Let's kick off the Sword Wrath one, starting with the classic Sword Wrath. I'm going to be giving it this ranking. It's just a classic skin. However, you do get the added benefit of the fast attack speed when you usually control the classic Sword Wrath. For some weird reason, I don't know why that's the case, but it is. You do get a faster attack speed just like Savage, but you don't get that stun immunity or anything like the stun immunity. Stun reduction, you don't get that. You just get a faster attack speed, so it really isn't much to it. Also, next up, we're going to go ahead and just rank Leaf Sword. I'm going to put that in... yeah, we'll do S tier. They're cheaper swords that train faster, and you get a really fast movement speed when you use to control a Leaf Sword. I would say it is very well worth it. Alright, up next we have the Ice Sword Wrath, and I will go as far as to say that this is one of the best skins in the entire game because of how well it buffs them. Sword Wrath already have a fast attack speed, and when you combine that fast attack speed with the slowdown ability, it makes them extremely strong. Essentially what they're doing is when they are attacking en masse, they are nerfing the enemy's DPS while also buffing their own DPS, since the enemy cannot attack them as quickly, meaning it takes them longer to kill them, and also meaning it gives the Sword Wrath a chance to get a lot more hits against them, and it is just very good. By far one of the strongest skins in the entire game, and not even just in the DPS aspect. In both user control and non-user control performance, Ice Sword Wrath excels at that. When you user control an Ice Sword Wrath, you come very close to being able to freeze lock a target. Sometimes the enemy can break free, but even still, their DPS is massively nerfed and now allowing you to get a ton of damage output going. And even when you're not user controlling, Ice Swords are extremely effective. I have nothing bad to say about this. It is by far one of the best setups in the entire game. Alright, back to the tier list. This is getting a straight up S tier. No hesitation, no arguments needed. It is just one of the best skins in the entire game. Up next we have the Savage Sword Wrath, and I think this skin is pretty good too. I would say not as effective as Ice, but it's still decent, especially when it comes to attacking deads en masse. When it comes to a big group of units attacking deads with Savage, I think Sword Wrath are definitely one of the best, because again, that fast attack speed along with their leap attack is great, and with the damage buff that it gives them against deads, they can mow through a horde of deads pretty quickly, providing it's not like Endless Deads Night 60 or something where everything just gets one shot. And I will say that even when not being used for attacking deads, Savage Sword does have some decent use. For one, it is good at countering the Spearton headstun attack. It doesn't affect them whatsoever. And you get a fast attack speed and movement speed when you use the control. So you can run around and you can hit things and snipe them and dodge. However, I will say that there are other Sword Wrath skin choices that perform better than Savage, but again, it's still not bad. It does pretty decent work. Alright, with that said, I am comfortable giving Savage Sword Wrath an A tier. I don't think it's worthy of an S, but it's definitely much better than a B, because it is good. It's very effective against deads, and you get a fast attack speed and movement speed. enabling you to run around, hit things, take off, and do some pretty decent damage against single targets, since you again have that faster attack speed. But there are some skins that I think outperform Savage Sword Wrath, so I'm giving it an A for that reason. Up next we have the Lava Sword Wrath, and do you remember when I said that some Sword Wrath skins outclass the Savage one? Well, this is definitely one of them, because Lava is really good. I've always seen Lava Sword Wrath used to cheese a level to death, where basically you would take your Lava Sword Wrath, ignore the army units, and just continuously attack the miners and snipe burn damage on them, and that would enable you to just continuously melt down their economy and deny them the ability to build miners, therefore getting a strong army while you're also building your own army of units in the background. Lava Sword Wrath is extremely effective at that, and combining the leap attack with the burn damage is a really good high damage output. It's a very viable option. In terms of damage reflect, it's decent. However, since Sword Wrath have a low survivability, the damage reflect I don't think is very effective unless you have a ton of swords where they can continuously put out tons of damage reflect. But against units that have a high amount of health, it kind of doesn't matter. However, that still doesn't mean the Lava Sword Wrath isn't good, because it is definitely incredible. So yeah, nothing else to say other than I think Lava Sword Wrath is definitely worthy of an S tier. Next up is the Undead Sword Wrath, and I think that this is also a very good skin. Since Sword Wrath have a high damage output with a leap attack, when it comes to killing units to get deads, I would say Sword Wrath are very efficient at that, especially if you get damage from behind attacks or things like that. You can use it as a last second finisher to get a guaranteed kill on a unit and then have it converted into a dead, which is good. However, if you remember when I said Undead Miner is good at stalling when you need it, I think Undead Sword Wrath is even better, because you can get many more Sword Wrath and you have the added benefit of the Sword Wrath being an army unit, which is good at damaging things. So they run in, get a ton of DPS, and when they die, they convert into deads. And if you get enough Sword Wrath, you can create a massive horde of deads by getting a ton of DPS with the swords, and as those swords die, they're converting into deads, which is getting in the way of the enemy units and protecting the Sword Wrath that you have left alive still. And it is just very effective, as you can see right here, just getting a massive horde of deads from having a ton of undead swords. I think it is very effective. Alright, I'm gonna do it. This may surprise you, but I think Undead Sword is worthy of an S. Like I said, when you want to kill units and convert them into deads, and you need something that is good at doing a high amount of damage enough to kill, Sword Wrath are one of the best choices for that. There are better ones, but Sword Wrath still get the job done pretty well. And like I said before, when they're in a huge group and they all die and convert them into deads, you essentially have a big horde of deads. It's just good all around. Voltaic Sword up next. Also a really excellent choice, especially in terms of damage output. When you want to take a Sword Wrath and you want to kill things and you want to do it quickly, this is by far one of the best choices you can make. You get a 60 damage increase every time you hit a unit with user control. And of course, since the non-user control units charge up their power, you get even higher damage when you discharge them. And it's perfect. Really good for sniping units, melting Speartons. I think a leap attack and Voltaic discharge combo one-shots an archer. So overall, it's just incredible. Nothing more to say other than this getting an S tier. And while we're here, we'll just go ahead and put Vamp on the list. I'm going to get the Vamp Sword Wrath an A tier. I don't think it's worthy of an S. However, you still get good perks with it. If you want to increase the survivability of your Sword Wrath, Vamp is a good choice. The region is not the best, but it does get them by. And you get decent regeneration when you usually control a Vamp Sword. The splash damage also isn't too bad. However, I wouldn't say that makes the Vamp Sword Wrath magnificent and worthy of an S tier. And that's going to conclude the Sword Wrath skin tier listing. And we're moving on to the Archidon. And the first two entries are easy. Classic Archidon. It's just a classic Archidon. What else do you want me to say about it? Then you have Leaf Archer. Cheaper archers that cost less. Why wouldn't you like that? Worthy of an S tier. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't need to collect video clips for the rest of the archer skins because I think they're pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to save myself a ton of recording time and just go down the list. So Ice Archer. It is very effective, excellent at slowing down units, and you can freeze targets when you shoot them with using control. So I think it's worthy of an S tier. Savage Archer though, I'm not a fan of this skin. I'm giving it a C tier. I literally do not use Savage Archer outside of Endless Deads, and even then I don't keep it for that long. Sure, you get a faster movement speed, and you get a slightly faster attack speed, but other than that, I don't think Savage Archer has anything going for it, again, outside of Endless Deads. If I want faster damage output, I can go Lava or Voltaic. If I want to keep the enemy at bay, instead of trying to rely on a faster movement speed, I can just pick the Ice Archer. I'm not really a fan of Savage Archer. I think it's one of the most bland skins in the game. It really does not have anything going for it. It could definitely use some more perks, so it's definitely getting a C tier. Lava Archer, I'm going to give it an A tier. Because you get really good damage with using controlling. You can snipe burn damage on many targets. However, outside of that, it really isn't that effective, especially for non-usage controlled archers, where in order to benefit from the damage effect, your archers have to get hit. And the goal is to not let them get hit in the first place. Up next is Undead Archer, which I'm going to give a B. If you're good at using control archer sniping, then you can land headshots on targets, and you have a decent chance of spawning a group of deads by getting consistent using control archer kills. And when your archers die, they convert into toxic deads, sure. But not only are the toxic deads weak, but again, the ultimate goal is to not have your Archidons get in a position where they're going to get hit and killed en masse anyway. Therefore, I don't think Undead Archer is that efficient. Up next, we have Voltaic Archer, which is getting a massive S tier because extremely high damage output. It's definitely the highest amount of damage you can do with an Archidon, a regular Archidon, and not have to worry about buying a Golden Archer or using some sort of Super Archer. Voltaic Archers are just excellent. There is nothing wrong with them. Of course, you get the same issue as all the other Voltaic skin units where you can only discharge one unit at a time, but that's a non-user control issue. Doesn't really hurt the effectiveness of the skin when you use a control. And then Vamp Archer. Vamp Archer, I'm going to give a B. I'm not really a fan of Vamp Archer either, however, you do get your benefits from it. Your archers regenerate damage that they take, you get poison immunity, and slightly increases your Archidon's survivability. But the reason why I'm not going to give it an A tier is because you don't get user control splash damage when you control an Archidon. For some weird reason, and I just don't think that's right, so that's going to sit comfortably in the B tier. So that takes care of all the Archidon ones. Now we're on to the Spearton ones. First up, Classic Spearton is just a classic Spearton. Although, if Stickmore Legacy, if the developers stayed to the Gladiator Speartons, I would have given the Classic Spearton an A tier, probably even an S tier, because I like the Gladiator Spearton skin. It just makes them look so incredible, but the devs changed them out to this crap, so it's just going to go in the Classic skin tier. Then we have Leaf Spearton, which, again, really self-explanatory. The cheaper Speartons that train faster. Why wouldn't you want that? Perfect, sitting in an S tier. Up next, we have the Ice Spearton, and this is a bit of a complicated one because this skin can actually give Speartons a bit of a disadvantage when you use the control. So due to the Spearton's weird attack speed, when you hit a target, you slightly push them back, And what can end up happening is you can freeze lock a target while they're blocking. As you see right there, that Spearton was now taking less damage because I was consistently freezing him while he was blocking. And this creates a big disadvantage for usually controlling an Ice Spearton. You can end up freezing a unit while they're blocking, which enables them to be able to tank a lot more damage, and also allowing units that are attacking with that blocking unit to get a lot more DPS on the Ice Spearton. So that's why I deem the Ice Spearton as not as effective as, say, Ice Archer or Ice Sword. It's definitely not one of my go-to choices, especially considering a massive Ice Speartons I don't think is as effective as a massive Ice Swords or Ice Archers. Again, mainly because of the attack speed. And it's not like Ice really buffs spear throws that much. I mean, sure, you can insta-freeze the target, but it doesn't buff the damage in any way. So, I would honestly say that Ice Spearton is probably one of the bad skins in the game. Alright, this take might end up stirring a few bowls of soup, but I am giving the Ice Spearton a C tier. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of it, and again, there's a good chance that it can put you at a massive disadvantage when you're trying to attack multiple targets. When it comes to single targets, it's not too bad, but if it's multiple targets, you have that chance of freezing a unit while they're blocking, which forces you to have to stop attacking it and wait for it to stop blocking in order for you to keep attacking them. And since this can happen consistently, that's why I'm giving the Ice Spearton a C tier. Next up, we have the Savage Spearton, and this is one that I actually like very much because it buffs Spearton's attack speed, which essentially buffs their DPS while also buffing their movement speed. And that makes them really good, since you have a unit with a high survivability, now with a much faster attack speed and movement speed on user control, which enables you to be able to run around, get kills on targets, then run away, then run back in, hit targets again. And the stun reduction, I think, is extremely effective on Speartons because, again, that high survivability, they can rush back in and get high amounts of damage, except when it comes to Swift Giants. They simply attack too fast for Speartons to be able to rush back in on them and deal damage. But that's where user control comes in, because it does a very good job in countering the Swift Giant's fast attack speed. You get hit once or twice, then you can just run around it thanks to the stun reduction and that really fast movement speed. So it just enables you to be able to do a ton of different things. You can stay attacking a front line, or you can change your mind and rush a back line and get tons of damage going while doing so. And spamming Savage Speartons enables them to stall long enough for you to get another Savage Spearton and just continue the same process of being a very efficient and fast, feels like almost an assassin almost. So yeah, honestly, call me crazy, but I think Savage Spearton is absolutely worth an S tier. Because again, there's just so much you can do with it, especially on user control. It is just really good. Now we're on the Lava Spearton, and this is my favorite skin out of every single skin for the units in the game. Lava Spearton is one of the best in my honest opinion. I love it. You get the highest value damage effect you could possibly can, since maxed out Speartons have the highest survivability in the entire game, so you're able to get so much value, so much worth from your Lava Speartons. And even the damage is pretty good too, because you can run around, you can snipe burn damage on things, and you get an additional burst of burn damage even when you go for spear throws. So overall, an incredible skin. I can do so many things with a Lava Spearton. I can snipe down an entire economy, kill archers and swords quickly, deal massive damage to Spearton, spear throw giants. Like, give me a Lava Spearton and I can do a whole bunch of things with it. So yeah, Lava Spearton is gonna get a massive S tier from me, like without question. Up next, Undead Spear, and to be honest, I think it's another pretty solid skin. In terms of damage output and killing units, 52 user control damage is definitely nothing to laugh at, and it's good for quickly killing Archidons and Sword Wrath, which gives you a good chance of getting deaths from that. Spearton is a little bit more tricky, but you can rely on your spear throws to be able to get guaranteed kills on units to give you respawns from killing those enemy units. And when it comes to the Spearton itself dying and turning into a dead, it is definitely one of the most effective, considering the Spearton dead respawn, I'm pretty sure it's the tankiest. Even tanky did the excuse of a giant dead, like that absolute joke of a unit. So yeah, nothing else to say about Undead Spearton other than it's good. Alright, we're almost done with the Spearton skin rankings. I'm going to give the Undead Spearton an A tier. And the reason I'm doing an A tier and not an S is because the Spearton dead respawn from the Undead Spearton skin is not that strong. But everything else about it is good. So I'm going to give it an A tier. Next up, Voltaic Spearton. And there's not a lot to say about this either other than it's incredible. Insanely high damage output with user control. You can get up to 490 total damage with your spear throw if your Voltaic Spearton is fully charged, and that's just from the front. But yeah, you can clear units so quickly with the Voltaic Spearton, and it's extremely effective given the Spearton's high survivability. You can just get so much unbelievable damage output. So yeah, Voltaic Spearton, massive S tier. Nothing else to say about it. Alright, finishing off the Spearton skin rankings, we have the Vamp Spearton, which is good. I actually don't have a lot of negative opinions about the Vamp Spearton. When you use the control, you get pretty decent regeneration, and the splash damage is also pretty good. And you get a lot more survivability with the health increase on your Spearton, and your spear throws give you a chance to get massive health regeneration, especially if you get damage from behind. And yet, even though I say this, I don't use Vamp Spearton as much as I probably should, and mainly because they just got so many better options out there. Like, I can get high damage output with Voltaic or Lava, I can get damage effect with Lava, fast attack speed and stun reduction with Savage. But if I'm dealing with poison, or if I really just want my Speartons to have high survivability, or if I want them to be able to regenerate HP on their own, then Vamp is definitely a really good choice. Alright, we're cruising along here. I am going to give the Vamp Spearton, you know what, I'm fine giving it an S tier. I think it's worthy of it. And that ends the Spearton rankings. Now we're on to the Magi kill. So, first two, as usual, self-explanatory. Classic Magi kill is just a classic Magi kill. Leaf Magi kill gets an S tier. It's fast, it's cheaper Magi kill that train faster. How could you not like it? Yeah. Alright, for the most part, I feel like I've gotten pretty fair ratings with the tier list, and I haven't really rated anything horrendous. But that changes now, because we're going to have our first low tier ranking in the Ice Magi kill. This skin is terrible, and the reason is the freeze time for this is in sync with the stun time, meaning the second the stun time fades, so does the freeze time, meaning you get absolutely no effect from the skin. Like your slowdown effects, your freeze effects means absolutely nothing because it syncs with the stun time. It is absolutely dumb. You're better off having classic Magi kill because it's essentially the same freaking thing. Like, the Ice Magi kill is terrible, and it's not even just that. If we're going to talk about the Ice Magi kill, you might as well go ahead and cover the Ice Giant, which is just as bad as the Ice Magi kill. See, the thing I don't like about this is the Ice skins have been out for a very long time, and people have vocalized their issues with the Ice Giant and Ice Magi kill, and the fact that they are both terrible and need some work. The freeze time should not have the same length as the stun time. What needs to happen is the stun time goes first, and then the unit remains frozen after that. It should not be synced up to be the same thing, because it makes these two skins terrible. God, I can't freaking talk. Now, something I want to know, the Ice Giant and Ice Magi Kill are capable of freezing a target. However, the only type of unit it works on is a unit that has stun resistance. You are able to freeze them in place. And I was going to demonstrate that here on this mission if the AI didn't decide to turn into a little bitch and garrison despite having 2 freaking super spears. But whatever. This just now made me realize that I forgot to create an F tier. Well, whatever. We're just gonna put the Ice Giant and the Ice Magi Kill here into the D tier. They are both terrible. Absolutely abysmal skins. A complete and utter joke. And they both need to be reworked to where the freeze time is not in sync with the stun time. And we're just going to continue on down the list here. Savage Magi Kill, I'm giving it a C tier. I'm not really a fan of it. Sure, you get faster moving Magi Kill, but you do not get faster attacking Magi Kill. That is a lie. And other than getting the stun reduction, there really isn't much to the Savage Magi Kill. Like, it's not that good to me, so it's going to sit comfortably in the C tier. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and go for the Lava Magi Kill. I'm going to give it an A tier. It is decent, gives you a decent source of damage, burn damage I should say. It gives you extra burn damage on top of your blast damage. It's good for chipping units down and killing them in due time. But is it spectacular? Not really. I'll tell you what is spectacular though, and that is the Undead Magi Kill. I don't think you can get any better than this. You literally just have your own Kai essentially. The Undead Magi Kill is one of the best Magi Kill skins in the entire game, if not the very best one, because you can conjure up your own army with some well-placed blasts. Now granted, the deads that respawn when you kill targets of the Undead Magi Kill are unfortunately not powerful, like, at all. They die very easily, but that's just the case with the Undead skin as a whole, which I'm going to get into that a bit later, because what I'm going to do at the end of this tier list is do an overall ranking for these skins and place them on the list. This is just for individual units. Pretty soon I'm going to do them as a whole once we get to the end of the ranking for the Magi Kill and the Giant. But anyway, the Undead Magi Kill is incredible. You can conjure up your own army with the consistent blasting, providing the Magi Kill doesn't get killed. However, a big issue that I have with this is killing a Magi Kill does not give you a Kai. You get a Spearton death from killing a Spearton. You get a toxic death from killing an Archidon. You get to call it a giant dead is a joke, but you get a big dead from killing a giant. What you don't get from killing a Magi Kill is a Kai, and to me, that's a utter travesty of a joke. I don't know why that's the case. Like, I fail to see what's so bad about having the Magi Kill respawn as a Kai. That needs to happen. If that happens, Undead Magi Kill would be the best thing in the entire game, I'm telling you. So yeah, please, at some point, make it happen. Alright, Undead Magi Kill, without a shadow of a doubt, gets an S tier. Now don't get me wrong, it still has problems, mainly meaning the Undead respawns are weak and Magi Kill that die don't respawn as a Kai. However, those small cons are not enough to make the Undead Magi Kill lose the S tier ranking. It's just too freaking good for it to lose that spot. Up next, we have the Voltaic Magi Kill. And I really don't know what to say about this one other than I honestly don't think it's that good. You get a small damage buff when you use the blast. However, without the Magi Kill being charged up, the only additional damage you get from the Voltaic power is 45 You normally get 60 with every other unit, but for some reason, with the Voltaic Magi Kill, you only get an extra 45 damage. So it's 163 plus the 45. Although I'm noticing, it looks like it isn't even popping up here. Yeah, it looks like it's just 100. Well, it's probably because right now they're just blasting Magi Kill minions. But still, plus you don't really hit more targets unless the Magi Kill are charged up. So I honestly don't think the Voltaic Magi Kill is all that special to me. And it's going to get a pretty low ranking on the tier list. Alright, this might be harsh of me, but due to how disappointing I find the Voltaic Magi Kill skin to be, I'm giving it a D tier. I rarely use Voltaic Magi Kill because of the fact that it's not that special. The only type of Magi Kill the Voltaic skin is good on is the Grand Magi Kill, the leader of the Voltaic Revolt. Like, that's about it. Other than that, I just avoid Voltaic Magi Kill because I don't see them to be that valuable. Even when you charge them up, the splash damage is garbage, and the initial damage boost you get for not having them charged up is only 45. That's terrible. Alright, not that much longer left to go. Up next we have the Vant Magi Kill. And you don't get any extra splash damage with your attacks, unlike what it says. But what you do get is really good healing power. And a favorite strategy of mine that I like to do is pair the Vant Magi Kill with the Magi Kill avatar in the tournament mode, because it doubles your health. So you get Magi Kill with double the health. They become decently tanky, and with the ability to heal themselves, they just gain a ton of extra survivability, and I feel like that's what makes them great. And it's especially good when facing blazing statues in the tournament mode. Normally blazing statues do a ton of damage to units, but against Vant Magi Kill, they're really good against it. Like, if the burn damage is too much, I can easily just back the Magi Kill out of there and then have the vamp off of the units. You gain so much HP when you blast with them, especially with usage control. And that is the reason why Vant Magi Kill is going to get a pretty high rating from me. Alright, looking to wrap this up pretty soon. So Vant Magi Kill, I'm going to give it an S tier. I think it's absolutely worthy of it, again, because of how strong that healing power is. It makes them really good. And now that leaves us with Giant and then the final overall skin rating. So beginning with the classic Giant, it's just a classic skin, but worse. I'm giving it a D tier, and the reason why is every other Giant skin gives you the ability to Earthquake. Classic does not. You do not get the Earthquake ability with the classic Giant, and that is terrible. The classic skins are already bad because they have literally nothing going for them, but not even giving classic Giants Earthquake, it's just terrible. Like, man, it's awful. So that's why classic Giant is just a classic skin, but worse, which is why I'm giving it a D tier. Then we have Leaf Giant, which I'll give it I'll give it an S tier. It's cheaper Giants that train faster. Why wouldn't you want that? Plus you get a decent Earthquake. Savage Giant, I'm going to give it a B. You do get your increased movement and attack speed, but now that Swift Giants exist, like, using control Savage Giants just don't compare to them at all. Not even close of a contest. Then we have Lava Giant. That's an S tier. I shouldn't even have to explain why, but it's a freaking S tier. Like, use Lava Giant and a bunch of Magi Kill minions in Sword Rat. You will not regret it. Alright, we're on the Undead Giant, and this one definitely needs some work. Now, as far as the performance of the Giant itself, it's good. If you're able to pull off an Earthquake which kills a ton of Magi Kill minions or swords, you can get a pretty decent horde of deads. Haven't pulled it off myself, however, it is possible. So the Giant itself with the Undead skin honestly isn't that bad. You can land some last hit strikes on other giants to kill them and get the respawn giant deads, but this is where the ranking of this skin is going to tank a little bit, because we got to talk about these freaking respawn deads, which are apparently supposed to be giant deads, and they are not. They are not giant deads, they are oversized normal deads, and that is stupid, because when they respawn, they can barely get out of the ground before they get killed. These respawn giant dead rejects are so unbelievably weak, it makes me want to vomit. I cannot stand how pathetic they are. They need to be way stronger than this. What they need to be are actual giant deads, meaning the type of deads from Endless Deads where they are stun immune, tanky, and have a lot of health. Well, a lot of health, tanky, same thing. Because right now these things are not. And the giant dead from Endless Deads does not have a second health phase. When you deplete their health, they drop dead. That is how the respawn giant dead from the undead giant needs to be. Because the way it is right now is a massive letdown, a complete disappointment. Like, I feel no satisfaction using the undead giant, seeing the giant die, and getting that joke of a dead spawning from the ground with its extremely weak HP. It needs to be stun immune, it needs to be tanky, and it needs to be an actual giant dead, because right now it is not. It's an oversized normal dead. A weak, oversized normal dead. I absolutely cannot stand it. So it is for that reason alone that the undead giant is going to be receiving a lower rating than it probably should. Alright, let's finish this. Undead Giant, I'm going to give it a C tier. Because again, I really hate how much of a joke that Giant Dead respawn is. And therefore, it's going to tank the Undead Giant's overall rating. And now let's finish this up. Voltaic Giant, I'm going to give it an A tier. It's good. You get giants that do a lot higher damage, especially when fully charged. And the Voltaic Earthquake is very strong. However, I do think Lava slightly outclasses it because of the chip damage, which is much better at guaranteeing a kill with a single Earthquake, as opposed to needing two Voltaic Giants to secure a kill on a bunch of Magi kill minions and swords. At least if those giants are not charged up, but it is still good. And then Vamp Giant, I think it's worthy of an A as well. You get giants that can heal, and the Earthquake is pretty good, I guess. I personally don't use it as much, but I do acknowledge that it's not bad. And now this takes us to the overall ranking of the skins themselves. Where would they place on a tier list? Let's finish it. So first off, Classic is getting a D tier, because there's absolutely nothing special about these skins at all. Like, it gives the units a mid appearance and no other special things than that. Leech overall is going to get an A. I think that it could use a little bit more perks than just cheaper units that train faster, but it is good. I'm not saying it's bad, but it could be better if they just added some more perks to it. Now that takes us to Ice. Overall, I'm going to give it an A tier rating as well. The reason why it's not getting an S, despite a lot of units being good with it, is because of Ice Magi killing Ice Giant. They absolutely suck because of how the freeze time is the same length as the stun time. If they fix that, Ice would get a much higher rating. Up next we have Savage. I'm going to give Savage an overall C tier rating because I personally think that the Savage skin could use more than just a stun reduction and bonus damage to deads, which really isn't that special anyway, because there's a lot of game modes and levels that don't use deads at all, and also don't have a lot of like stun going on, so I think that there could be some more perks done for that. Lava, I'm going to give it an overall S tier. It is a really good skin that it works very well on certain units, and I think it's very worthy of that spot. I swear to God, I cannot talk today, man. It's actually ridiculous. Alright, Undead Skin. Overall, I'm giving this a D because I'm disappointed with how bad it is. The respawn deads are weak. Not all of the... Excuse me, hold on. Let's redo that. The respawn deads are all weak. Magi Kill do not respawn as a Kai. The giant dead respawn is a complete joke. And also something I didn't mention before. Endless Deads. When you use the Undead Skin in Endless Deads, no matter what dead type you can kill a giant Spearton dead, which say a spear throw from an undead Spearton. But guess what you're going to get from that? A measly, pathetic ass regular dead that's going to get one shot. I can't tell you how much of a massive disappointment and letdown that is. Undead Skin needs a serious rework, and it needs some serious buffs going on. And one thing I can suggest is for Endless Deads is, if I kill a giant Spearton dead, then I should get a giant Spearton dead with say 3/4 of the original's HP and half the damage. Same thing if I killed a Pouncer dead, or Kai, or a regular giant dead, or hell, even a freaking stone giant that isn't an Endless Deads, but still, Undead Skin needs to be way better. So overall, D tier. Then we have Voltaic. I'm gonna give it a B because it could also use some improvements. The whole idea of having to use the controller to take advantage of your Voltaic power is kind of bad. The non-user control units need an additional perk. And then Vamp, overall, I'm going to give it a B. It's not fantastic, but it's not terrible either. And there you go. There you have it. This is the Stickboard Legacy full skin tier list. Now you may be wondering, why didn't I include video clips for every single skin on every individual unit? Because this video would be an hour and a half long if that was the case, and I am quite literally burned out. It's all I can muster today mentally. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is all opinionated. You don't have to agree with me. You can make your own tier list and say, "Yo, this is way better than SO7's trash list," and I'm not going to be offended by that, to be honest. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.